What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Halo Infinite's multiplayer possibly being free to play. So, obviously, this is something that could be very, very old by the end of today. Obviously, just in a few hours, we have the Xbox Game Showcase. We're going to see so much of Halo. Obviously, the campaign with Jeff Keighley, as well as in the show, and then also multiplayer, right? So, I'm sure there's going to be developer interviews, all sorts of different stuff that we're going to get a lot of answers to a lot of things. So, again, this will not remain a mystery for all that long, but we've got a lot of different rumors going on about Halo. A lot about its multiplayer, a lot about what its multiplayer will include, won't include, all this different kind of stuff. And this one really stood out to me because this one I feel like is definitely the most interesting. So let's read this article. This comes from PureXbox.com, and then I'll go over my impressions of it. So Halo Infinite's multiplayer might be free to play when it launches this holiday, according to an unconfirmed rumor that sources close to Windows Central have disclosed. The website suggests it's a strong possibility in a similar fashion how Call of Duty Warzone can be played without requiring Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It also mentions that instead of just a game, the idea of Halo being turned into a platform with extensive post-launch support in a kind of service-esque approach, something that Xbox boss Phil Spencer possibly alluded to in a recent interview with Polygon, is in line with some of those unconfirmed rumors. In any case, we should find out a lot more about it at this week's Xbox Game Showcase. So again, really interesting if this game is basically like a live servicey kind of game, right? Like it keeps going on for years, even like what Destiny, obviously Bungie not making this Halo, but there are similarities there. And yeah, Phil Spencer has alluded to those kind of things in the past. Look, this Halo game is going to be massive. They've talked about it. Even other leakers, other people in the Xbox community that have talked about this game have said like they expect this game to have the biggest player base of any Halo game ever. So, and that's by the way, that's very high, I guess, praise, right? Or that's at least high predictions that there could be a lot of people playing this game. Again, it's going to have Forge mode. It's going to have all these different, the redo, undo buttons for Forge mode, which is really, really exciting. So this game is going to have, and just in multiplayer alone, it's going to have a lot of things. There's been talks that it's going to kind of harken back to, the OG Halo games, like what made those games very special, that the multiplayer is going to have that. Again, there's been talks of the single player as well, open world elements of this game. So, and when I hear that, by the way, I know that doesn't have anything to do with multiplayer being free to play, but if you were to tell me that those two things like were in this Halo game, I'd believe you. You know what I mean? I think the Halo single player, if there is open world elements where maybe there's an area where Master Chief, is stationed and he picks where to go, or there again, like the areas are just a little bit more open, I could see the multiplayer kind of reflecting that in a way of, yes, being kind of free to play, being like, okay, we're always going to have additions. With that being said, Halo multiplayers always have had, though, they've had updates, they've had additions, added to them later on. And with all that being said, what we know with Halo, what we know with what Microsoft, even what Phil Spencer has talked about with the Xbox is, okay, this Halo game took an extraordinarily long time to come out, okay? It's been in the hiding basically for so long. And also, the way the Xbox ecosystem kind of works now, you look at it and you say, you know what? A game that can live on for multiple years, especially Halo, right? If you center around Halo, if Halo is that game that's going to do that, that makes a lot of sense. We know there's no Xbox exclusive, Series X exclusive games from first-party studios. Now, there will be exclusive games in general. We know the game The Medium, right? That game is going to only be on the Xbox Series X. That's the only console it's going to be on. It's also going to be on PC. But, again, for the studios that Microsoft owns, there will be no game that releases on Series X that doesn't also release on Xbox. And again, you think about that, and you're going to have people split up. You're going to have people split up, actually, for quite a while. People may not buy the Series X right away. People may not buy the Series X for a couple of years. And this Halo game, because of that connectivity and because they want as many people playing this game, and again, I mean, the motto kind of Xbox is being able to play it anywhere, right? You can play it here, you can play it, you know what I mean? The possibilities are endless. And with that being said, this is a game that I think is an example of something that can last multiple years, can constantly be added to it. Now, does that guarantee that the game is a free-to-play game that's separated from Halo? No. Ultimately, that's just a rumor. We'll find out. I think, honestly, we should probably find out today. Like, if we don't find out today, I feel like something would kind of be off. You know what I mean? Like, that's something, when they show multiplayer and they talk about multiplayer, I feel like if the feature of multiplayer is the fact that you don't have to pay for it and that it's free to play and it's going to be on all these systems, obviously not on PlayStation, but it's going to be on all these different places. You're going to be able to play with each other, and it's constantly going to get added to. You know what I mean? There's constantly going to be updates. There's constantly going to be improvements made. I mean, that's a pretty big feature that you think you would talk about at the same time that you're talking about the actual multiplayer, right? So again, I don't think we get past today with that not being said. Again, it makes sense why something like that would happen. I think, but again, because even what I just said, the fact that you would probably want this to survive for years, you're not going to get another Halo game, look, for another 4, 5, 6 years. Okay, this may even be, depending on how short next-gen consoles are, the life cycle, actually, we may not get another Halo game on next-gen, and if we do, it's at the very end of it. That's I mean, that could happen. Depends on how long it takes them to make the next one, right? But at the same time, again, they could just be going a model that a lot of games have gone over the past couple years where it's like, you know what? Making a new game doesn't really make sense. Now, a big part of Halo is the story. So you could say, well, you know what? At the end of the day, you do have to make more Halos because you do have to continue the story. I understand that. I get that. At the same time, if the multiplayer is separate, the multiplayer could really live on for a very, very long time, and you can almost get it where the multiplayer is living on its own and the story is living on its own, and then you can make more stories to add to it, right? Make more games that continue the story of Master Chief. That could be their plan. Again, we don't necessarily know their plan, right? We don't know exactly what they're going to do. But again, I think we're going to find out today. Just because I think the multiplayer can be added to and probably they want it to live on for years and years and years, again, does not mean it needs to be free to play or like, again, separated from the base game. I mean, you can just have constant updates. You can just have constant DLCs, whatever you need to do. I mean, that also happens with games all the time, right? Where you can really basically add on to a game and keep the game alive for a very, very long time. It doesn't have to literally be a free-to-play game. With that being said, that's very, very interesting. This, this Halo is going to be something very, very different. That's something we've heard a lot about. The single player, the story, again, if it's a little bit more open-worldy, the mechanics of it, it's going to be a very, very different kind of Halo. The multiplayer is going to be, actually, the multiplayer is going to be a little bit more back to the classic Halo multiplayer, right? So maybe a lot of innovations in terms of gameplay, in terms of the story specifically, and then a lot of also just recognizing what made this franchise really, really good going back to its roots, right? I'm so excited to see this game today. I'm a big Halo fan, and, I want to play this game. I want to buy this game this fall. I'm going to buy this game this fall. It'll probably be for the Xbox One, but I cannot wait to see what they show us today. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Do you think this multiplayer is going to be free to play? What do you think about the multiplayer in general? What do you think about the single player rumors? All these different rumors and leaks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to be watching this Xbox Game Showcase. I'm going to have videos right after it, a couple of them today, as well as tomorrow, talking about anything that we saw there. I also have a second channel that I'm going to be posting videos to there as well. I'll leave a link for that in the description if you guys want to check it out. So loads of Halo videos, loads of Xbox videos today and tomorrow specifically for this Xbox Game Showcase. I hope to see you guys there.